Welcome to my channel, dear children. Good morning, all of you. Last class we have revised the basic concepts required for the lesson relations and functions. Today we are going to define what are relations. So let me write the definition of relations. A relation are from the non-empty set A to the non-empty set B is a subset of the Cartesian product A cross B. If you remember, children, last time in my last class you have seen what is a Cartesian product, right? Cartesian product is of two sets A and B is A cross B. So the definition of relation says that a relation R, a relation R from a non-empty set A, relation R from a non-empty set A to a non-empty set B is a subset of A cross B. Now if a set non-empty set A is given to you and if a non-empty set B is given to you, you know how to write A cross B. A cross B is the collection of all ordered pairs A and A comma B such that A is your first element is coming from the first set and the second element is coming from the second set. This we have already seen in the last class. So now here relations are defined as a subset of A cross B. Let us consider an example. Let us understand this through an example. For example, if I give you an example, if my set A is having elements say 0, 1, 2. If my set B is having say elements 0, 1, 2, 3. Now you know to write Cartesian product, right? So A cross B will be the collection of all 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 and 0, 3. Right? Similarly, I have 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2 and 1, 3. I have 2, 1, I have 2, 2, I have 2, 3 and I have 2, 0 also. Okay, so Cartesian product, the ordered pair, first element coming from the first set and the second element coming from the second set. Now I have written what is A cross, now I have written here what is A cross B. Now children, suppose I am defining a relation R on A cross B such that R is the collection of all x comma y such that x is coming from A and y is coming from B and your y is greater than x. Okay, so you are going to write all those elements in the relation such that the second element is greater than the first element. So what all elements will come here, children? If I try to write the elements of R, what will happen? 0, 0 will not come because second element is smaller. So I will have 0, 1, second element is greater. I will have 0, 2, second element is greater. I will have 0, 3, second element is greater. I will have 1, 2, second element is greater. I will have 1, 3, second element is greater. I can have 2, 1 will not be there. 2, 2 will not be there. 2, 0 will not be there. I can have 2, 3. That means the second element is bigger. Okay, so this is your relation R. So this relation R, if you see that inside these elements, all the elements are members of the set A cross B, right? You can see that A cross B is a big set and R is a smaller set. So you can see that here in this case your R is a subset of A cross B. So this is one typical example of a relation. Now if you want you can show it with the help of an arrow diagram. For example, if I have set representation, we are going to represent it like this, right? So if I have a set A and if I have a set B, if I have the relation R. So in my first pictorial representation, I'm going to write the elements of A. So I have here 0, 1, 2. On the other side, I have 0, 1, 2, 3. So under this relation, what happens? Under this relation, what happens? Your 0 goes to 1. Your 0 goes to 2. Okay. Your 1 goes to 2 and your 1 goes to 3. And your relation 2 under this set, your relation 2 goes to 3. Okay, so this is a diagrammatic representation of a relation under sets A and B. Okay, so this is a subset of A cross B. Now you have to be familiar with certain terms related to this relation. Now two terms which are important you should learn for the relation is, one is what is image, and the second term is what is pre-image. Okay, so under the relation R, children, the second element, okay, under the relation R in the ordered pair, the second element is called as the image of the first element, and the first element is called as the pre-image of the second element. I repeat, under the relation R, the second element in the ordered pair is called as the image of the first element, and the first element is called as the pre-image of the second element. So these two words are very important. Image of an element under relation R, pre-image of an element under relation R. So here if I see in this example, I can say that 3 is the image of 2, whereas 2 is the pre-image of 3. Here 3 is the image of 0 and 0 is the pre-image of 3. Okay, now let us do one more example in order to clarify. Let us go for the second example. Suppose if I have a set A, and set A the elements are say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. If I have a set B and say the elements of the set are again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am again taking the same set. Okay, now if I am going to define a relation R from a relation R is a collection of all ordered pair X belonging to A and Y belonging to B such that Y is equal to X plus 1. Okay, so let us understand what is the image here, what is pre-image here, and how does the Cartesian product come, and what are the elements in the relation. Because in the last example, children, explicitly we have translated the relation and then found out all those things, right? Similarly here also we are going to find what actually are the elements in R under this relation. Okay, now I have a set A, I have a set B, right? So you know to write A cross B. A cross B will be the collection of all ordered pairs such that first element is coming from the first set and the second element is coming from the second set, right? Now you have also know that, children, set A contains 6 elements, set B contains 6 elements. So cardinality of A cross B, if you remember the last class, cardinality of A cross B is n of A into n of B. So it is 36. So technically it is not possible for me to write all the elements in the A cross B. But very well I can write all the elements in my set R because it is condensed, right? It is condensed. There is a relation between first and the second element that the second element is one more than the first element. Okay, but you should see that your X should be coming from A and your Y should be coming from B. Okay, so I have to be very careful in writing my elements. So let me take my first X as 1. If I take X as 1, my Y is going to be 2 and 2 is already there in B, so no problem. Now I'm going to take X as 2. If I take X as 2, my Y is going to be 3. Again 3 is there in B. Now if I am going to take X as 3, Y is going to be 4. Again it is there in my set B. Now if I take X as 4, my Y is going to be 5. Again it is there in your set B. Now if I take X as 5, your Y is going to be 6. Now 6 is also there in my set B. Now children, if I cannot take X as 6, because the moment I take X as 6, children, what will happen? Here 6 is in A, but when I add Y, when I look at Y, if I have to add 1 to Y, so it will become 7 and 7 is not there in B, right? So this element 6, 7 will not come here. So what will happen? Your set will get closed here. Okay, now as I told you before, the term image and pre-image. So how do I translate this here? Here I can say that 2 is the image of 1 and 1 is the pre-image of 2 under your relation R. Similarly, I can say 4 is the image of 3 and 3 is the pre-image of 4 under the relation R. Just I have done last time. You can, if you want, you can represent it diagrammatically. Okay, so under the relation R, I have a set A, I have a set B. Here I have elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here also I have element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So here you can see 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 4, 4 goes to 5 and 5 goes to 6. But here you can see that there is an element 6 which does not have any element in B. So last time we had all elements, right, having images, right? But last time we saw an element which does not have a pre-image. So here this time we are seeing a different format. Here also we are seeing that here 6 is not having any image and there is an element 1 which is not having a pre-image. This is possible, okay, but we are only concerned with elements, all the ordered pairs coming in the relation R. Now after this, three terms which are coming into picture is nothing but what is meant by domain of R, what is meant by codomain of your relation R, and the third one is what is your range of R. Okay, it is very simple definition. Okay, domain of R means the set of first elements. Domain of R means set of first elements in your ordered pair, and the set of second elements of the ordered pair in your relation R is called as the range of R. See, everything I am talking is about R, so everything will come from R. So set of first element is called as the domain of R, the set of second element is called as the range of R, and the set B, okay, the entire set B is called as the codomain of R. So that means, children, for this example, my domain of R will be set of all first elements. So what are elements are there in the first position in the ordered pair? It is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, now what is my range of R? My range of R is defined as set of second elements in the ordered pair. So it is nothing but 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now what is my codomain of R? Codomain of R means, children, your entire set B. That means it is given to you in your question. What is my codomain of R? Codomain of R is my entire set B. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that clear? In your exam, you can expect 1 mark questions for first expressing the relation, then writing what are the elements in your domain, what are your elements in your range of your relation, what are the codomain, what are the elements in your codomain of your relation. Okay, so domain of R is the set of elements in the relation in the ordered pairs relation, the set of second elements in the ordered pair in the relation, and that is your range of R, and your codomain is your entire set B. Codomain is your entire set B. Now moving on to so now we have seen that if A is not equal to empty set and B is not equal to empty set, right? So your relation R happens to be a set of A cross B. Okay, this is the very basic definition. Now after this, children, we have to study what is types of relations. Okay, there are different types of relations. Okay, now types of relations I am going to study on, or I am going to define on the basis of a single set, say A. Okay, so if I have a non-empty set A, children, if A is not equal to empty set, a relation R in the set A, okay, is a subset of A cross A. So what does that mean? I have started with a non-empty set. Right? On a non-empty set, you can have A cross A. Cartesian product of A cross A is possible, right? Since Cartesian product of A cross A is possible, you can very well establish a relation R on this set. Okay, so I can have R is a subset of A cross A. Now last year we have already studied that. In your 11th standard you already know that finite sets and the given set itself is always a subset of a given set, right? What do I mean? I mean that if my R is empty set and if my R itself is A cross A, then they are going to be the subsets of your given set, right? Any empty set is a subset of a given set and a set itself is a subset of a given set. right? So here I can have R is equal to empty set and I can have R is equal to A cross A. So these two conditions are establishing one's relations. Okay, so this R equal to empty set is called as an empty relation because in this relation there are no elements, and this R is equal to A cross A, that means the entire set itself, it is called as a universal relation. That means if I am given any relation, children, in that two conditions are always possible. One is the case of an empty relation and the other is a case of a universal relation. Let us see an example of empty relation and universal relation through an example. Children, suppose if I am having a set A, I am taking a non-empty set A. The elements of the set A is say 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now if I am establishing a relation R1 as R1 is the collection of all ordered pairs A and B such that A plus B is equal to 10. This is my first relation. Now my second relation is R2 is, I am going to define collection of all A comma B such that A plus B is less than 10. If you see in my first relation, children, you can see that if I am going to pick any elements from the set A, you know that relation here is defined on A cross A. So you can see that here, children, I can have all elements of the type A with A. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 like that. All elements are possible. Total elements in A cross A will be 16 elements, right? A cross A will be having how many elements? It will be having 16 elements. But we are not interested in all the 16 elements. We are interested in all those elements where sum of the two elements coming from A is 10. Children, here very well in the set you can see that no two elements, if you add between themselves, the sum is going to be 10. The maximum same element is 4, 4. And if you add 4 and 4, children, the sum is going to be 8, right? So there in this set, if you take any two elements, it is not going to be 10, right? So your relation R1 will not have any elements. So relation R1 is equal to empty set. So this is called as an empty relation. Now if you look at R2, now let us define R2. Okay, if I look at R2, children, what is the relation R2 saying? Relation R2 is saying that you take any two elements from your same elements or different elements from your set A, you consider the ordered pairs, and if you add it, the sum is going to be less than 10. And very well you can see that here, children, any two elements if you take from this relation R, you can see that the sum is going to be very well less than 10 because the maximum sum of any two numbers in this set A, or if you take any ordered pairs from your relation R, the maximum sum is going to be 8, right? So this condition that your A plus B less than 10 is true for all the elements. So you can see here your R2A is going to be A cross A. So this A cross A is called as a universal relation. That means every set A will have two relations by default. One is an empty relation and another one is a universal relation. Now children, this empty relation and universal relation, okay, this empty relation and universal relation, they are called as a trivial relations. Okay, they both are called as trivial relation. Trivial relation means by default always any set A will always have empty relation and a universal relation. Okay, now apart from this you have another kinds of relations. First one is, apart from this you have three different types of relations, okay, on a set A. So there are three different types. Let me tell you. First one is a reflexive relation. Your relation R is said to be reflexive. Second one is your relation R is said to be symmetric. The third one is your relation R is said to be transitive. Okay, let us see one by one. You have empty relation, universal relation, that's true. But apart from it, there are three different other types of relation, that is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So reflexive. Now the definition of reflexive goes this way. If A comma A, if you have elements of the type A belong to R, right? For every A belonging to A, then the relation is reflexive. That means you pick any element from your set A, you should have AA. You should have element of the type that element and itself in your relation R. If this is true for every element in A, then your relation is reflexive. The second one says that if you have element of the type AB belonging to R, that means if in your relation you have a distinct pair of the type AB belonging to R, then you should have in the same relation BA belonging to R. If you have this, then their relation is said to be symmetric. Obviously your A and B is coming from your main set A. Okay, you should have consider all those elements of the type AB in R such that BA is also in R, then it is symmetric. Now what do you mean by transitive? Transitive will require 3 elements. It says that if in your relation you have elements of the type AB belonging to R, if you have elements of the type BC belongs to R, then definitely you should have elements of the type AC belonging to R. For all ABC belongs to R. That means all the three elements should be distinct. That means you should have AB, you should have BC. That means they have a common thing. That you can see that the element B is common for these two ordered pairs. Then you should have in that relation AC. If these two conditions are there, then it says this should happen, right? Then only your relation will be transitive. Okay. So children, I think through an example you can understand it better. Okay. So let me consider one example. Suppose if I have a set A, I have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Now if I have a relation R1, the elements inside the set is 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3 and 2, 1. Now we are going to check whether it is a reflexive relation, symmetric relation or transitive relation. Now children, if I am going to take any elements from A, what does it say? If I am taking any elements from A, I should have elements of the type AA. This is what is the definition of. This is what is the definition of your reflexive. That you take any A from A, you should have AA in R. So children, I am taking one element A. If I take 1, 1, 1 should be there. 1, 1 is there. If I take 2, 2, 2 should be there. But you can see that in our relation, you don't have any element of the type 2, 2 belonging to R. So that means your relation, this relation is not reflexive, because if any one of the elements violates your condition, then that condition of that relation is not true. Similarly children, if you can see that if I take 3, 3, if I take 3, 3, 3 is not in R. If I take 4, 4, 4 is also not in R. So again I'll come to the same conclusion that it is not reflexive, because the condition says that for every A in A, you should have elements of the type AA. Now coming to the next condition of symmetric. Symmetric says that if you have AB belonging to R, then BA should belong to R. That means if I interchange the positions, that element should also be there in R. Let us check here. Okay. So this time I am going to choose an element from R relation. So if I choose here an element children 1, 2. Okay, if I am choosing an element, say 1, 2 belonging to R, you can very well see there, here that 2, 1 also belongs to R. So for that it is true. But you have to do this for every element, right? If I take 1, 1 belong to R, again if I change the order of the elements, 1, 1 is also in R. Now, but children, if I take 1, 3 belongs to R, children, you can see that I don't have 3, 1. Okay, I don't have 3, 1 in R. Right? So that means I am able to find one element which is violating the condition. So what happens? This becomes not symmetric. This relation becomes not symmetric. Okay, now let us move to the third condition. Third condition says that if you have elements of the type AB and BC, then you should have AC also. If you have, very important, if you have AB and BC type elements in R, then AC should be there. That is what you have to check. So we know that one element is enough to violate the condition. So let us check. Okay, so here children, you can see that if I take 1, 1 and 1, 2, it is of the type AB and BC. If I take AB and BC, so what will happen if I take 1, 1 and 1, 2 children? If I combine, what I will get? I am going to get 1, 2, and 1, 2 you can see it is here. Right? Similarly, if I take 1, 2 and 2, 1, 2 is common, so again 1, 1 is there. Right? Now if I take 1 1 and if I take 1 3, okay, if you can see AB and BC, again you can see children here BC, that means 1 3 is again here. Now children, I can't take 1 2 and 2 1. Can I take 1 2 and 2 1? No, it will be of the type AB and BA, so that will become the condition of symmetric. Okay, here they are saying that A, B and third person C should be different. All A, B and C should be different. Okay. So, I am able to find all elements of the type AB, BC such that AC is there. So, what happens? This relation will become transitive. So, this is an example of a relation which is not reflexive, not symmetric and transitive. Not reflexive, not symmetric and transitive. Okay. Let us do one more example so that the definition is very well clear for you. Okay. So, I'm going to take a second example. Again, my set A is going to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. If I am going to define a relation R2 on this set and I am going to take elements of the type 1, 1, I am going to take elements of the type 2, 2, I am going to take elements of the type 3, 3, I am going to take elements of the type 4, 4. Okay, so the definition of reflexive, let us again revise. Definition of reflexive says that if AA belongs to R, for every A belongs to A. Symmetric means if AB belongs to R, then BA should belongs to R. For every AB in A, if your AB belongs to R, BC belongs to R, then your AC belongs to R. For all ABC belongs to A. So let us check this condition. So here you can see that children, I have taken set A as 1, 2, 3, 4 and B is this. So I am taking one element A from A, 1, 1. So 1, 1 is there, 2, 2, 2 is there, 3, 3, 3 is there, 4, 4, 4 is there. That means in this relation I have all AA belonging to R, ordered pair AA belong to R for all A in A, right? So that means no doubt it is a reflexive relation. Now let me check whether it is symmetric or not. Children, if you look here the elements, here children, here all elements I myself am having all elements of the type AA. You can see that here all AA is there, right? So it should be symmetric also. Why children? If it is 1, 1, even if I change the order of the element again, it is going to be appearing like 1, 1. Even though the definition says AB, but because of the peculiarity of the set, AB here again if I do, I will get the same thing BA. So it actually again I am coming to the element in the same set. So again you can see that children, this set is nothing but symmetric also, right? Because they both are same, because AB type elements are not there, and if they are there, still if I change it, it is going to be same. So it is reflexive, it is symmetric. Now the definition of transitive, okay, very important. It says that if you have AB belonging to R type and BC belonging to R type, then AC should belong to R. But children, here you can see that, as I told before, as the condition of symmetric, there is no AB, right? There is no AB, all are AA. So here also you see that here also all elements are of the type AA. Okay, it's all of the type AA. There is no element of the type AB and BC. That means by default, since the conditions of the transitivity is not disturbed, it is taken to be by default transitive. So this is an example of a relation which happens to be reflexive, symmetric and transitive. That means children, if you don't have an element satisfying the conditions of the definition, I can say that very well by default I can take it to be symmetric. Here in this case I can take it to be symmetric, I can take it to be transitive. Now these all three types of relation, that is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, they are all clubbed together and a new relation is defined, that is called as an equivalence relation. So today's last topic is equivalence relation. It is very simple. An equivalence relation, a relation R on a set A, children, a relation R on a set A is said to be equivalence. Okay, this set is said to be equivalence relation. When what happens? This relation is reflexive. This relation should be reflexive. This relation should be symmetric, and this relation should be transitive. That means if your given relation on a set is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, then it will become an equivalence relation. So a relation R on a set A is said to be an equivalence relation if R is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So let us check whether we have got any equivalence relation in our examples. If I look here, children, it is not reflexive, not symmetric, transitive. So that means this is not an equivalent relation. It is not an equivalence relation. Why? Because you should require all the three conditions. Okay, now if I look here, what is the case here? If I look here, children, you can see that it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So this example is an example. This one is an example of an equivalence relation. Is that clear, children? So in today's class, children, we have studied what is the relation, what are the trivial relations, what are the different types of relation. That is, we have reflexive relation, symmetric relation, transitive, then you have equivalence relation. I hope, children, you have understood what I have taught. If you like the video, please subscribe my channel. If you like it, also share it with your friends so children may be useful, so your friends may be finding it easy to learn such topics. Thank you, children, for listening to me.